Right, okay. So sorry, you've done the introductions, have you?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so we're going to go through the agenda. The questions I've had in advance of the meeting have all been around the Constitution. So rather than asking individual questions, we're just going to talk about how the Constitution is put together. Then we've got a bit of information about playing formats. We'll cover off the rest of the apologies, my email's going mad because people are getting in, not getting in, etc. We'll cover off the when the cup finals are going to be and the rest of the season, and then it'll be looking forward to next season and any questions. If you can put questions in the Q&A area, then we will respond as appropriate throughout, because we can't open up the meeting to everyone, because as you can see, IT is quite challenging and it'll be chaos. So Chris, do you want to move things on?
Yep, there you go.
I feel like Chris Whitty. Next slide, please.
There you
Right.
go. Timetable of Constitution.
Yes, so the timetable. So all secretaries should know that league applications are now open, and we want you to put in what you want for this season in those applications. Then we will, obviously, there's so many if, buts and maybes on what the government are going to do at the moment that we haven't actually set the date for the AGM, but it will be in June. So then we'll have the AGM, and then all the teams that have applied to the league for next season will be voted in. As we've done in previous years, we will make a constitution decision in July. We do know that even when we make that decision, we get changes in August, but we try to make it as late as possible to minimise those changes, because it affects so many things with fixtures and the like. But we do need to set fixtures in August. I have had feedback from, do you want to move on? Yeah, go on. So the decisions will be made on the number of teams. Now, we know even now in some of the age groups, there's some divisions that have got small. We're going to have to make some adjustments. I've also got some feedback from people who, because of changes, might be COVID, might be other things, who feel that they're not in the right place in the league, so they want us to consider moving them. We aim to have ability match divisions with appropriate numbers of teams. So this is not always achievable, but we try and come up with the best result that we can. So any requests made by teams will be considered, but we have to do that looking at the big picture as well. We also need to decide how any new teams coming into the league, or any teams that have moved from one club to another, where they fit. We try and make those the best decisions we can, and we do it based on ability. But it's, as you probably all can imagine, it's not an easy job. But that is how we will do the Constitution. And I hope that explanation answers questions as fully as we can at this point in time.
Okay, thanks, Karen. So, playing formats.
Okay, oh, sorry, I thought you could do that. That's okay, I can do that. So what I've sent out previously is we are willing to provide further playing formats to aid in development and transition for teams. We've had 2 seasons of a world being completely different to what the world's ever been before. We've tried to keep football going in some shape or form during those seasons, but we do know that this has impacted on clubs, this has impacted on teams, this has impacted on players, and they haven't had the football experience that they've been used to having previously. So we're trying to be as flexible as possible in the playing formats that we offer. So at the moment, we've got 7s and 8s, 5v5 on Saturdays. I've had a couple of requests on whether we would consider having any Sunday provision for those age groups. In the past, we have had Sunday provision, and we had so few teams that we had to stop it because there just wasn't enough teams for us to do that. But obviously, if the world has changed again and there are enough teams, because we've said we will run things that are viable, but there have to be enough teams. We can't have 2 or 3 teams in an under 7s division because it just won't work. Okay, so that's the 7s and 8s. 9s and 10s get the choice of Saturday or Sunday, and we will offer the format 7v7, which is the normal one. We have had a pilot going of 5v5 at what was not last season, season before's under 9s, and they moved up to under 10s. We didn't have any take up last season at the current under 9s to have any 5v5 provision, but that doesn't mean that going forward that the under 8s are moving up to under 9s and the under 9s are moving up to under 10s, that they might want to have a 5v5 provision, and we're more than happy to offer it, providing there is sufficient teams for that division to be viable. Because you can't have, as I said, 2 or 3 teams, there's got to be a sufficient number. A new offering for us at under 11's normally 9v9, but we will offer 7v7 if teams feel that because they haven't had enough time playing at 7v7 that it's better for their teams or their club. We'll look at offering a 7v7. We've always had under 11s play on a Sunday. This is to manage facilities for clubs and to prepare teams for competitive football that follows at under 12s. And at 9v9 level, we really need all the teams playing on the same day so that we can correctly place them in the right ability for under 12s. So that is what we are considering, or what we've put up that we're offering for next season for development football. Chris, do you want to? Right, so under 12s will be 9v9. At under 13s, we have offered in the past a 9v9 provision as well as an 11v11, and we're prepared to offer that again if, for the same reason that teams feel that they've lost a season at 9v9 and they think it would be better for players to carry on playing 9v9, but all competitive football provision will be on a Sunday. And just as stated again, we'll provide options based upon demand. And I've covered the different playing days, and I think, you know, we've had quite a few conversations with Ian about facility challenges and also some of the complexities about offering anything different, but that's what we came up with as being reasonable and achievable for the league. So Chris, I can see there's questions popping up. Do you want to take over on the Q&A?
Yeah, so I think the main question we've had around the demand on other days. So if you have demand on that, if you as a club feel that you have demand for those days, you can't do it as part of your league application, but as part of the process, if you can drop Karen an email of what you would wish for, we can collate them inquiries and see what the trend is. If there is a huge outcry for anything, we will look at it. But the numbers have to be viable for the provision to work, especially around under 11s and 12s. Getting that information is crucial to ensuring that the transition is as good as it can be. I'd like to think that the teams that have moved to under 12s over the last few years have seen an improvement of the transition, and that teams aren't a better ability matched. And we want that to continue for the benefit of everyone, really. So as I say, if there is a clear request passed out by your club secretary as part of the application process in an email to Karen. Okay, we'll move on.
Chris, do you want me to do it, or?
I'll happily go through these. So these are these are the remainder of the Kappa Cup and Four Sports trophies for the season. So we are continuing with these for all age groups. So Steve Kenny's under 7s and 8s. Their fixtures are due to resume at the start of April, with their finals on the 22nd of May at the FDC at Bowthorpe. The 9s and 10s have got a full calendar of fixtures in April and May, with the first finals for the under 9s on a Saturday being on the 5th of June at the FDC at Flegg. And the under 10s, we've got the Saturday finals on the 12th of June at Flegg, and the Sunday finals are on the 6th of June at the FDC at Open. The under 11s, you've got a very, very tight fixture schedule. You've got fixtures starting on the 11th of April in your trophy event groups, with your finals being on the 4th of July at the FDC at Open. You will be aware that these are outside of the June dates. We've put them as close as we can to the end of the season, just to ensure that players aren't aware or don't disappear. The 12s to 18s, the cup final dates are all as listed there. There are most of the competitions are at the quarterfinal stages, and each stage is 2 weeks apart from each other. Hopefully that makes sense. And the kickoff times will all be announced in due course once we're ready.
Chris, I did see one question pop up from Chris about the formats. So if I could just...
Yeah, of course.
Chris just said, had we considered under 17s? Chris, we made the 2 divisions under 18s due to club demand, because it makes it more, gives greater flexibility for players. We don't mind if teams have all under 17s, as up to them, but we just have it as under 18s. And Darren ability matches 17s and 18s in the 2 divisions. So it's not that we won't consider under 17, it's just that we're giving clubs a greater flexibility.
Yeah, that's fine. I just seen a message from Dan about the Saturday Cups. They are, that you won't see them yet, but they are the week after your final league fixtures in the groups, if that makes sense. And it is the first of Group 1 versus the second in Group 2, and the first of Group 2 versus the second in Group 1 in the semi-finals. Okay. So yeah, that's sort of it from us. There are still some more questions. So I can see one from Darren Stubbs at Spixworth. The under 8 fixtures and under 7 fixtures are there. They just haven't got the dates in yet. So I believe Steve will be sorting them very soon. Another one from John Bakewell. Are we still awaiting on government guidance before we can resume training or playing, or are we using the same rules for COVID security used before the most recent lockdown? I believe we are still actually awaiting FA and government guidance, unless Ian or Matt wish to intervene and tell me anything more that they may know. If I can unmute them, bear with me. Two secs, just got to find them.
Ian's the one with the red top on.
There he is. You can talk.
Yeah, I can answer that one, and Matt can come in if he wants to add anything. So yeah, we're still waiting for the guidelines to come out. So when we resume, we will be resuming under a new set of guidelines. We're just waiting then to come out from the FA. I think it's fair to say that they will probably arrive next week. We don't know when.
Okay, nice one. Cheers, Ian. Right, other questions. From Christian, could I ask why clubs under 11s were not consulted if their grounds would be available due to use in June due to reverting to cricket use in May? No clubs were consulted regarding pitch usage. If there are issues around pitch availability, please look to reverse with an opposition or find a neutral venue if you can. We know it's not going to be easy, and there's going to be difficulties across the county, and I think Ian will agree with that there is going to be these anomalies in place. And it's going to be difficult, but I think for everyone's benefit, we want to be playing. for the benefit of everyone, really.
And Ian, I think you said you would try and find people spaces at Fleg or Open as well if people needed them, didn't you? He's nodding.
He's nodding his head, yeah. I've got another one here from Mike. For next season, can we cross-register players under a 9 to allow players to play with others and also be flexible for parents if we have a Saturday and a Sunday team?
No. Mr. Carpenter, would you like to answer that one? Can you unmute him?
I've requested to unmute him.
So I can tell you the answer is no, but Matt will give you the reasons why the answer is no.
Well, I can actually say, so your players are registered for one team, and that's for the purpose of trophy events. Players can play across the 2 days, but only in your development games. So in your development games, they are prior to Christmas. And for your competitive games and your trophy events, they are after Christmas, usually. So for that purpose, you can't, but prior to Christmas, that is not a problem.
And the main reason is because it's one age group, even though teams play on different days, it is still all one competition because it's one age group. Unless, I don't know where Matt is, but I don't know if he wants to come in and add any more to that.
No, I don't think they'll let him unmute for some reason.
Right,
Okay, let's just carry on. Matthew Clark, how do we put forward our team's desire to play 11v11 and not 9v9 for under 13s? Just apply as normal.
Yeah.
If you want to apply at the normal age group, that's fine. Just complete your application as normal with your club. One from Helen, the email about the under 10s cup on the 27th of Feb said first place, second in the same group. Apologies, Helen, that is wrong. Just because the way full time is set up, it's got to play across the 2 groups. So it's first of group 1 versus second of group 2, and first of group 2 versus second of group 1. Andy Nichols, are under 7s and under 8s remaining fixtures treated as a knockout, i.e. if you lose a game on the 10th, you have no more fixtures? I believe that is the case. So that's most team. I think most of them fixtures are now at the knockout stage, so they won't go to the trophy event. From the Kappa Cup to the 4 Sports Trophy. So I believe that is correct. And yes, Carfield, this meeting is available as a recording if you want it afterwards. We'll get that published not long after. If there's any more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Reggie said, will there be an introduction for football for new under 7s next seasons? I'm not too sure what you mean by an introduction, but we will always do our new teams meeting at the start of the season to give clubs an idea of what's expected and the managers and the coaches. And there will be events, I'm sure, that Norfolk FA normally do some sort of transition festivals. I don't know if they'll happen next year or will happen this summer, but Ian may well be able to let us know if they're in the works.
Yeah, Chris, I'm more than happy to do a thing for everybody to remind them about completing match cards and how important they all are, because I'm sure people have probably forgotten just how much we go on about match cards because they haven't been doing football. Yeah,
that's fine. Neil Perry, is there a way we can explore under 11s on a Saturday? As we said, Neil, if your club secretary can pass about your wish on to Karen as part of the application process, we will collate them together. As Ian's just said, we will consider transition festivals for under 16s moving to under 7s for 21-22. There's one comment here from Tony Leggett. There was a relaxation on goal sizes for under 13s to allow clubs a year to purchase the correct size. With the lack of current funding for clubs coming in this year, is this still an option to use full-size goals under 14s? I think Karen and Dan will give you the word on that.
Yeah, hard one, that one. We're going to have to just leave that one with us because I can understand other people's comments on these goals and I can understand the way around it. But just leave that. I'm not going to give you an answer right now because I think it's the wrong time to do so. But we will update you on that as soon as we can.
And I suppose for a technicality, because it was voted for at the AGM, anything that is proposed will have to go to this year's AGM.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll update you on that one.
Yeah, so I've got one question from John. For next season, will under-9s have the option to keep five-a-side, or will it be a majority rule? I think the answer is no, it won't be a majority rule. It will be a let's see where we're at in numbers in terms of the applications received to ensure that provision is viable. Obviously, having two teams that wish to do five-a-side isn't what we'd call a viable competition or a viable development format. So it all entirely depends on numbers, and we'll communicate with that with the clubs as we progress through the application process. We don't yet have a date in mind when we'll communicate on the different formats. It's down to you as clubs. As soon as you get the information to us, we can then start looking at what is available. It's entirely in your hands as clubs. So the next one is from Dean Shepherd. With the extension of the season being until the end of June, why hasn't more been done to give more fixtures, i.e. some under-16s who are already out of the cup, their season is now over?
If I can answer that, we know we couldn't complete the season. There is nothing to stop. And in fact, lots of teams are already doing this, organising friendlies so they can play, but we couldn't complete a league programme. We could only complete a cup competition, and we also want to support the fact that Norfolk FA were going to run their county cups as well, so it's just not viable. That was why.
Yep. So just to follow up on the goalpost question, Ian says that funding does exist via the Football Foundation for new goalposts. I've used that before quite a few times, and it's been brilliant. If clubs are struggling financially to purchase a new goalpost for any format, please contact Ian and he'll help and provide more information. Dwayne Smith has said, when you have all the under-14s teams in the league, can we hope to have an even number? Dwayne, we do look at the numbers. It's not always possible to have an even number. We do get that it can be a bit hit and miss. So some people prefer having an odd number of teams because it means they get a free week every so often. However, it's very, very tough, and it all depends on the amount of teams that apply and the amount of teams that are still with us. We're not going to just erroneously promote people or relegate people to ensure that the numbers are even. It's not fair on the clubs. I've got a question from Justin Collings. Do you expect there to be an issue with availability of players that play both football and cricket? No, I don't think so. Darren, Karen?
Cricket we don't manage, unfortunately.
No, sorry, Chris, I didn't fully hear the question. Could you say it again?
Yeah, do we expect there to be an issue of availability of players that play both football and cricket?
Well, we don't control that.
No. Exactly.
We don't control that, so we can't answer that.
I think it's individual choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
exactly. Similar to those that play rugby and football together.
Yeah, if you're going to chuck football and cricket, you might as well chuck rugby in there as well, because it is a problem now. And
tennis, hockey, any of them.
Yeah, that's a personal choice to the individuals. Yeah.
Right, James Baker. I'll get Karen or Darren to respond to your club via email in regards to your question. Mark Winnell, if government guidelines are correct, will the league start with or without spectators? We have no idea. It's not down to us. It'll be down to the government and the FA. Ricky has said, will it be put to clubs to vote on, Chris, i.e. under 8? No, it won't be put to clubs. It'll be based upon what you as clubs tell us what you want. Scott from Dussendale has said, will we have the play in cup competitions under 7s and under 8s? Yes, you do. The fixtures will be online and full-time soon. Nick has asked, are we insured through the FA for playing friendlies now that the season has been cancelled? Yes, of course you are, yeah. Can the league facilitate a discussion between future under-11s coaches about best playing days? I don't think we need a discussion. We just want you as clubs to let us know as part of your application process. So get your club secretary to email Karen what your preference is. If there is an outcry for other days, we will certainly look at it.
Yeah, we don't want people talking about it, because that's pointless. Talking about it don't give us definite numbers. We want, if teams definitely want to do one day or the other, let us know, and then we'll work it out. But we can't do nothing unless definite numbers.
But it has to come from the club secretary,
Yes.
because I get quite a
Not
few
from
managers. Yeah, we get managers who tell us what they want, and then when we speak to the clubs are going, "You got to be joking! We can't do that." So you know,
if it don't come from a club secretary, and then
we'll
we will
ignore it.
just ignore it.
Yeah. So for Debbie Jones, for under 9 next season, if we're due to play 7-a-side, can we change to 5-a-side if the other side agrees? For example, if we have some injuries, illness, can't fulfill 5-a-side. No, you play the format that you've arranged to play. Same as has always been. You can start a 7-a-side game with 5 players if you've got injury or illness. That's not a problem. Deborah Matthews, is there a date, Karen, that we need this information for?
Well, the applications are open now, so the sooner the clubs put in what they want, then the sooner we can start looking at it, really.
Yeah. Right. One from Simon, and I think this will make this our last. With the season cancelled, can players now move without transferring? No.
No.
The season is not cancelled because you still have teams playing cup and county cup competitions. Your end of season transfer window, or your players are signed until the last day of June.
In fact, I have had, I'll just mention it now because I'm sure Norfolk FA will be getting involved in some of this. There have been managers approaching players for teams to sign them, etc. And you need to be clear that until the end of May or even June, if, as Matt tells me, the season gets extended, then those players are not free agents. So it would be an illegal approach.
Yep. Okay.
One other thing that I need to bring up that was sent to me by email prior to this was about postponements. Now, we can't change the rule. Our rule allows teams to have one postponement, but there have been teams who've been adversely impacted, and I don't know if it's just down to this season and COVID and the current circumstances, but I think it's happened previously in other seasons, in that some teams are ended up having several weeks without football because the teams that they're playing are postponing games against them. And we've done quite a bit of work with clubs on those that were had to postpone because of poor weather on pitches and things. And Ian has done an absolute sterling job with clubs over the last year or so in getting improvements to facilities and things. And we've also had conversations with some clubs who've done really good things about having a plan B and also making sure that their facilities are more playable. But it's just, I suppose, that's what I've had from people. I get more complaints about people postponing games than anything else during the season. So I just sort of like throw that out there to everyone to sort of like just think about that when it comes to next season, because people want to play football.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, hang on. Dean's just said do away with the emergency. But yeah, well, Dean, that would be a bit contentious, and it'd have to go to an AGM, and we would have to have put the rule change in before now in order to do that. So I'm just kind of, I'm hoping everybody wants to play football when we can get back doing it again, and there'd be less occurrence of people postponing games.
Okay, just one for Dan. Sorry, just one there that Dan has just put on there.
I have responded, Darren, to him
Oh
privately.
yeah, okay, yeah. Cheers, mate. Tom.
Cool. And that's it from us, I think.
Oh, hold on, there's another question.
How do we come up with the fixtures for the Unlined Cup? Your Unlined Cup fixtures are all based on ability.
So yeah. So we split ability groups, and yeah, it is literally based on your team's ability to do that. But you can choose not to play. If you're worried about travelling or anything like that, then you can choose not to play. We're not making anyone play.
Okay.
Okay.
Hang on. Wait. What's the deadline?
The deadline's in the email for your which relates to the application process. It does say.
And will there be a fine for not playing a fixture due undenies? No, no, not for this season, and not when they're development matches. But if it was a trophy event next season, then there would be a sanction. But we're not doing anything for people this season because it's just not normal, is it? And we'd just be happy to have any football being played. But if people are not comfortable, we are not going to penalise them if they don't play. It would just be a shame for the teams that they're playing against if they don't play the game.
Yeah, right. Let's just wrap this up. So Dan
There's
Henry,
another question, Chris.
but this will be the last one. Dan Henry, the video will go out on our YouTube channel later tonight. And Tim Bateman, if we make the leagues any larger, we wouldn't get the season finished. We found that 10 to 12 was the optimum number. Any larger caused us issues, any less caused us issues as well. We found 10 to 12 is sort of the bang on. Okay. All right.
Jamie,
thanks everyone.
Comment, and we are now going to finish. Like I said, I'll close it off. So thank you very much all. We know it's been a weird time, but let's just hope in the next few months we can get back to some normality. And thank you all for attending tonight. Okay. Thank you.
Bye everyone.
Bye.